Welcome back, and first up this week the guys are laying the molds for these two aileron spars that they finished the plugs last week, and you can see basically doing both of them on the same time. And these are just getting the lightweight carbon fiber put on them first, and then they'll sit for a couple of days before we put the heavy weight on there. So no real troubles with those ones, and moving along nicely. And so it's time to start on cutting out the ribs from the MDF after we sort of threw away the idea of trying to do it with a 3D printer because it just didn't work out as well as we'd expected. So here we have two pieces of MDF that have been just glued together to make sort of 1.5 inch thick, and just cutting them out with the mill like that. And so these are the ones, there's 4 of them first that are ones for the strake tank that needed to be redone. So those are underway, as you can see. And this is kind of one of them there, and that's basically how that's going to fit in the strake. And again, this is just a template for what will become the mold. So that'll basically, that's kind of like the plug, and you'll see that getting laid up later on. And meanwhile, Jeff is starting the layup on the front seat mounts. So there's 2 different mounts here. He's actually just doing the first mount there in the mold, and then the other mounts on the other side, but he's going to sort of do that afterwards just because it's a tight fit there. And first time around, he just wanted to make sure he gets the first one laid up correctly. And Zach and Brian spent some time today sanding various parts of the fuselage and the different other bulkheads and things like that mate together for the fuselage. So all the flanges are all ready for bonding. So that'll be happening over the next few weeks. And here's that seat mount all under vacuum there, so it didn't take too long for Jeff to do that one. And I believe he'll be doing the other one in the next day or so. So we'll have both of those front seat mounts ready. So I'm on to putting together more of the parts for the reduction drive, and so here you can see I've got the first large bearing there in the upper drive all greased up and sort of inserted in there. So the next thing to do is put the oil seal in there, and of course these all need to sort of be pressed into place because they're a snug fit. And so yeah, you can see you're just sort of popping it into place there and get it up on the press again. And this is sped up 4 times sped up just because it sort of takes a little while to do this. So I had to press it in there to get it flush, and then with a smaller block just pressed it in a little bit further there because there's a C-clip, retaining clip that goes in there. And you see I just had to adjust it off their side because it was sort of going in on an angle a little bit. Anyway, got it to go in nice and straight, and take that out, and then drop the C-clip in place, and so then that side is done. And this is the side that houses the prop flange. And more stuff for the fuselage. The guys are getting ready there to lay up that center console, and so that's what you just saw. And this is the ones that they did the other day. So the peel ply has been taken off, and as I said, they're just going to set up for a day or so before they bulk them up with the heavy carbon. And there are those ribs that I cut out of the MDF, and the guys already sanded on those, and they need a little bit more filler and stuff, but they're going to get a sort of a sealing coat put on them, and then a primer, and then obviously waxed and put on the board and ready to pull a mold from. So that they go really quickly compared to our old regular technique. And here's the lower straight molds. Those are getting prepped. They've already cut core for those, so it won't be long on those. Will be getting laid up. And Zach and Brian pretty much finished sanding all those different mating areas for the flanges and inside the fuselage for everything. So a couple things still have to happen there. We have to make some adjustments to the door frame still, and we have to embed the straps for the parachutes for the parachute system, and we also have to put some of the hardware in below the keel for the flight control system, and I'll go into more detail on the flight control system in the coming episodes. And Britt dropped off the hardware that he was working on, so this is one of the brackets there for the nose gear retraction, and it's all nicely done. And these are the ones for the main gear, so it's the bracket there that bolts to the leg, and then you've got the upper arms here. And ultimately we're thinking that for production these would become cast items, so that we don't have to cut and weld and all that sort of stuff. But for the prototype it's just quicker to do it this way instead of trying to do castings right now. And once they've been test fit, we'll send them off to powder coat. And back on the reduction drive, so here I'm actually putting the main housing over the main prop shaft here. sliding that into place, so it's basically going through the bearings and the oil seals, and so it fits on there nice and snug once it gets all the way down there. And then of course after that I have to put the next bearing in there with, pack it all with grease first and make sure that's all in there. And that was super tight there because I didn't put much grease on the oil seals, but so I pulled it back out and did that, and it turns better now. So here it is with the second side bearing put in there, and lots of extra grease in there, and the stake nut on there, and the washer to hold it all in. And so that's been sort of locked into place now, so that nut can't come loose. And I've just got the cover on there now. Obviously it hasn't been bolted into place yet. I've got to do a couple more things before I want to finish bolt that up. And lastly, just to test fit it, just decided to put the pulleys on there, see how that all looks as one sort of assembly. And ultimately just noticed this, and I don't know if you can see this, but it's pretty obvious when you look at this. The teeth aren't lining up here, and that's actually a big problem. So a bit of an oversight when we had the guys mill out all the center section of those pulleys that had a lot more material in them that we didn't need in the center. I guess I didn't mention to them that they need to be matching, so the holes that have the bolts in there don't line up from one pulley to the next, and so ultimately the teeth don't line up. So now we have to go and buy another one of these pulleys and then have it remilled to match the other one, so the bolt holes line up and the teeth line up. So anyway, sometimes you have good days when everything goes smooth, and other days are like this, so we'll get it sorted out. Anyway, that's our update for the first half of this week, and thanks again for watching.